Hey there, we are talking how to create systems in your business. Now, this is a big question I get asked as somebody who has multiple businesses. Obviously, I have lots of systems going on. We are a well oiled operation in both my brick and mortar businesses as well as my online. I am not in the day to day operations. And because of that, or I should say, because we use systems, that can actually happen. Without systems, this will never run the way that you want it to run. So, let's talk about how to get started with systems in your business. So, first off, the big question that I typically get is, where do they come from? Where do I get started? What does this look like? So, here's the deal: every single person on your team should have a position, right? There should be a title, a position, and they should have a list of their daily, weekly, monthly responsibilities. Okay. Now, I say should. However, should is not always what happens, right? A lot of times people say, oh, I am the one holding all the systems and it's in my head, and I just tell them what to do today, and then they do it. Okay. Sometimes they'll say, I don't even know what they do. I know they're working and I know they get stuff done, but they probably have the systems in their head. So, where do systems come from? They come from a document that you need. Whether you have it or not right now, that's fine, but you need to get it. You want to have a list of what this position does on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly, quarterly, annual, etc. Okay. So here's why. This has happened. I mean, I've been in business 19 years. This has happened over and over and over. An unexpected situation happens. Maybe we have to fire somebody. Maybe someone quits unexpectedly. We had somebody with an emergency surgery this past, I think, summer. Summer, was it this year or last year? Recently, we had somebody where they couldn't even call in. Their husband had to call in to say, listen, she had to run to the hospital and she was out for an additional 2 weeks. So imagine a key player on your team with things they're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. They are not going to be here for 2 weeks and you don't know what they do. If that's the case, what happens is balls start dropping. We want to make sure that everyone is aware of what everybody else is doing. So if we have to just step in for somebody, we can do that. And we have the system because it's coming from that. So let's talk about, I know this can sound overwhelming. I'm going to help walk through it. Okay. So for instance, you're thinking, I have this many people on the team. They do this many things. Creating the system would be insane, right? Like there's be too many things to do. So who creates the system? The good news is you only create the systems you are doing. So that means everyone else on the team can help you set up your systems. Okay. Now, the only way I wouldn't let somebody set up a system is if I wasn't liking the way they were doing it. If I realize, wow, the way that she's answering the phone or responding in emails, I actually would like to show her first. So I'm going to set up the system and then I will pass it along to him or to her, right? So really make sure you are letting people help you unless they're too new or you're not liking the way they're doing it. Don't let your ego get in the way though. Just because you're not liking it, the question becomes, are they giving the same outcome, right? And maybe just because it's not your way doesn't mean it's not the right or wrong way. Okay. So everybody should be helping. And then you'll always double check. So if I am working with 3 people, I want to see their systems and confirm it's the way that I want it run. Why? Because when I go into my studio, and I haven't worked in the day-to-day operations in 9 years, when I go into the studio and I'm just there because my daughter's dancing and I'm picking her up, I'm observing the systems we put in place more than a decade ago, right? So if you want it to run without you someday and you want it to run in the way you want it to run, right? Then be involved in the systems process. That doesn't mean you have to create the first piece of it, but make sure you're double checking or having the managers double check as well. Okay, so let's kind of dig into each of these. So, number 1 is capture the system. Okay, so capture the system. This is 2 ways. First of all, you might capture the system by just hitting record on your computer, right? And you're moving along and you're capturing that system. Or If it's more in a physical location, like let's say, for instance, I want to do a system in my studios of how to do inventory. Let's say the UPS man drops off, a box of stuff. What's the system for opening it, unloading it, marking it, etc.? Now, you can either write that out step by step by step, or even make a video on that. Videos are a lot of times more helpful because with these videos, you're doing the whole process. You won't forget something. If I were to write out a system right now and I had to write it out, 10 different steps, I might miss something because I forget. Oh, yeah, like they wouldn't know that, right? So you want to make sure that not only do you capture the system, but you want to test the system. Okay. So, speaking of UPS, they're coming up right now, and my dog is right here. So, my apologies if he goes crazy, and he's going to ring the doorbell. I totally know it. Yep. Yep. Okay. How funny that I say UPS and then I manifest him to show up as he's walking up. Okay. So, with that said, test it. So let's say I create the system and I pass it along to somebody at my front desk, somebody who's checking customer service, a social media manager. I now want you to have them test it and be there with them. So hand them the sheet of paper, and maybe it's a digital, right? Or hand them the video and say, you got this, go for it. And you sit there and you watch. You are going to catch if you've missed something or not. Okay. Make sure to test it before you need to actually use it. The whole idea is getting your team to be able to do things without you. If you don't test the systems, guess what? When they do the system, and maybe it's 6 p.m. on Tuesday and you're sitting down with your family at dinner, you're going to get a phone call because the system wasn't accurate and now it's not working. So how do we make sure to test the system so that when they use it the next time, we actually know we haven't missed anything? Okay, so that's number 2. So capture the system, then test it. The next one is refine it. Now, I will say this is hard when you're not in certain roles, but I have had people from my business say to me, I know you like it done this way, but let's be honest, I'm not answering the phones all day. I'm not in the email. I'm not on social media. So sometimes I'll have somebody say, we think this way is more effective. We think this way is right. And then they give a reason. Allow your people to refine it, but they know to come to me to say, we'd like to refine it. Because if you just get anybody the opportunity to refine at any time, trust me, when you walk in that building 10 years from now, or virtually 10 years from now, it's probably not going to be the way you want it if you've always let people just change the system. And here's the deal. Sometimes the system is personal preference. Somebody loves it because that's just the way their brain works. And somebody else doing the same role doesn't love it. If you constantly change the system based off of personality, one specific personality, every time you put a new person in, you'll have to change it. Okay. So allow there to be a refinement window. Okay. Now, with that refinement, I also want you to understand, let me go back one. It will be a process. Why isn't that? Let me go. There we go. Let it be a process. Okay. Here's what I mean by that. Usually when I tell people how to do this and I teach them, they get really, really overwhelmed. Okay. They start to go, this is good. I don't have time to do this. It's not that you don't have time. It's that you have to start making consistent time to put this in your daily or weekly routine. So if you decide there's 5 people on the team, they each have like 30 different tasks that they're doing. That's 150 different systems. That can feel overwhelming, but this is what I want you to do. I want you to start to assign a system or 2 a week. Make every single person on your team be responsible for a system or 2. And pretty soon, a few months from now, you'll have way more systems documented than you ever had before. A year from now, the same. Now, sometimes this can take more than a year. Why? Because sometimes systems are an annual process. We have things in our business that we just do one time per year. So if I'm only doing it once per year, I'm not going to create the system in June if I don't need it until December, right? I'm probably going to create it in more of real time. So systems usually always take a minimum of a year because you will not even remember some of the things you have to do in order to put that on the list, okay? So let it be a process. I mean, we are still refining our systems to this day. We are adding new systems. For instance, we didn't have a pandemic system. So all of a sudden, when we were closed out of nowhere, right? I had to step back in because there was no system for what to do if we were ever forced to close our doors. So we had to step in and really create new systems of what that process looks like. And that will happen. Something else will pop up that's never popped up before. And when it does, just in the moment, do what you need to do, go off of your values, figure out what this new system looks like, and then start to document it. Okay. So from there, here's what I want to make sure you are aware of. Systems are great, but if you don't have the right people, it's not going to help you. They maybe will not follow the system. They will not hold themselves accountable. Make sure you have the right people in place. You want to make sure you have A players. If you want to grab our free document, here is how you can do that right now. It's our 5-step framework for hiring A players. The link is right there on the screen. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so you can see that. There you go. Go to stacytuschl.com/perfect hire. It's got our 5-step framework plus tons of hours of training in there, completely free. Now, I'm actually going to be bringing on a client that we're going to be talking through, just answering some of her questions. So feel free to stick around, because a lot of times when I do on-air coaching, I always hear people say, this is exactly what I needed. I'm working on the same thing. All right, let's bring her on.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Very good, Stacy. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Okay, tell us real quick. Tell us a little bit about your business so people have a little bit of a backstory, and then
Mhm.
ask me your question.
All right. So I am Russian and I live in the United States, but my target audience is in Russia. And I teach people how to do their Instagram. And my latest project is a Reel Challenge, because in Russia, Reels only became available like in July.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's when I switched everything that I was working on in FTF, and I created my Reel Challenge. And it's been pretty successful. I had 4 launches, and last one I got 73 students, so
Wow.
it's really great.
Amazing.
Um, so for this program, I also do upsells. I got a group coaching session, and I offer my IG bundle that is like 2 DIY courses,
Okay.
but they all kind of low offer tickets. And now I'm trying to figure out like what to do for my main offer where I can start making some serious money.
Okay. Love it. Thanks for being here, Lana. We appreciate you so much. So your question is, I assume you're saying you want to dive in today to what could be the main offer.
Yes.
Okay. Love it.
And I actually tried to do a coaching program
Okay.
with my previous student, and something is missing there. So
Okay.
I actually was able to find a group of people, and they stuck with me for 4 months,
Mm,
which is great. And they got good results, but like something is missing where I can't convert. I tried to pitch it in my challenge and I can't convert people there. And it now occupies so much of my time, obviously, with coaching program, but I don't have enough people, and obviously I just waste more time than I make money.
yeah. Okay. Makes sense. So let me ask you this. What right now are you loving in your business that you know is a keeper?
Definitely, I love actually live communication. So for my
Okay.
real challenge, I try to do it live as like live boot camps, and
Yep.
then I did it evergreen, and evergreen was a complete disaster. People weren't getting results, and I just didn't feel that connection. So I went back to live, and that's great.
Okay.
Everybody told me that we love your energy,
Yeah.
and like I inspire them, and blah blah blah. So
Yes.
that's great, and I
Okay.
really like to do lives and communicate with them on screen, so that's great too.
Okay. And how often do you want to do that?
Once a week.
Once per week to show up live for them, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Okay. And then did you have a smaller ticket product? Did you say the price point?
Yes, so my real challenge is only $20.
Okay.
It's a 2 week event, and I understand it's like crazy, but you got to understand that in Russia, price points are completely
Right.
different.
We're in a totally
Yeah.
different world. I
Yes.
completely understand.
So I do about $20 converted real challenge. My group session is $10 upsell, and the IHG bundle, that's DIY course. I don't check anything, like everything is uploaded. That's $25.
Okay. Okay. So you want to go to a higher ticket price point.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you think? I know, yes, you were in a different world, but there's usually always a mindset block around like going to that next level. But what
Mhm.
do you feel is a good price point that you actually think like that next program should be at?
I feel like $100 per month would
Okay.
be affordable for
Yeah.
them, and it would, if it's a group coaching, it would make sense for me.
Okay. Perfect.
It would make
Now, let me ask you this $100 per month. How many people do you want in there in the beginning to really say, okay, this is a good size group. I can pour into them. I can make this better. Like, what's the starting number? And then ideally, where would you like it to end up to really say, wow, like this is my number one bestseller?
Yes, so I personally can handle 10 people at a time, but I do have two assistants already who are my ex-students, and they do have some coaching,
Okay.
like life coaching experience. So I can totally hire them, and we can split it. But I would still love to show up for everybody, because obviously if they coming
Yeah.
for me, but then the other girls, they could do some
Okay.
kind of like, just like keeping track on them and helping them with homeworks and stuff like that.
Okay. So for me, $100 a month, 10 people, $1,000, you're going to be putting so much of your time and energy into this and only for 1,000.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you are trying to over deliver so much and you're giving them so much more than they would ever get anywhere else. And let's start to think about
Mhm.
how do we make this scalable? How do we not, like when you said I can only handle 10, I want you to say, I could have 100 people in there. That would be good. Like that's where I want to get us mentally.
Mhm.
So, what are you doing with your labor, your time that you could only handle 10?
So, so my first test group, what it seems like, when I prepare some presentation and I
Mhm.
come in with a certain topic and I give it and it's nice, but then where real magic happens is where they start asking their questions and I help them with
Yeah.
that. And obviously, if we have a group of 100 people, and we have only an hour session and they all asking me the questions, I'm not going to have enough time to answer them
Got
all.
it. Okay. Love this. Have you ever, and you can be honest, have you ever heard somebody in foot traffic ask me a question? And have you ever gotten value from somebody else's question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So let's think about that for a minute. Okay.
Mhm.
Right now, you had just said, in order to really support them, you just wouldn't have time to answer all their questions. But you can support in other ways. Like
Yeah.
right now, somebody is watching this and they're like, she's saying this to me. This is everything I needed to hear today. Right. And they're not
Mhm.
here. They're not in this room with you and me. So I don't want you to discount the value you can provide by answering other people's questions.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever have people asking very similar questions?
Yes.
Yeah. So that alone will show you too. There's not that many unique questions. Like if somebody else wanted to pop in here right now, they might ask another very similar situation of like, what's my next product or what's my pricing? And it would be a very similar framework that I'm pulling out of you or answering. So I just want you to remember that it's not about answering every single question. And you just want to set the expectation. Like if you said, I'm starting this program, we're only taking at this moment 25 or 50 or whatever number you said, but you flat out said in there, here's what it's going to include. I'm going to show up once a week for an hour and I'm going to train. And then I'm going to stick around for 30 minutes and I'm going to answer as many questions as I can. Right?
Okay.
If you stated it that way versus saying, I'm going to answer every question you have,
Yeah.
right? It's all about expectation. If somebody expects something from you because it wasn't said or it was and kind of was misleading, they're not going to be happy. But if they buy this $100 product and know, I may never get one-on-one attention, but she is
Mhm.
going to be doing XYZ and I want to buy that.
Okay. So would you recommend with this? So for example, when I do live on Instagram, that's super easy because nobody interrupts me. They put all the questions and I even in half an hour I can answer gazillion of questions.
Okay.
But if I do Zoom sessions and
Mm.
when I start bringing people on, even with my 10 people group, it's like a disaster. I was like,
Okay.
shut up.
Okay.
I want to answer some other.
That is so helpful for you to say that. Here's what I think you should do. I think you could host this in a Facebook group, right? You can have the content someplace else, like we do with like Kajabi.
Mhm.
And then you could just do Facebook Lives every week. And like you said, you're answering like crazy. You're doing as many as you can. Maybe there are not opportunities to jump on Zoom. Maybe that's another upgrade if they want one on one coaching via Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you can come up with a $97 a month offer and serve way more than 10 people, way more.
And so you still think I should. Okay, another question is
Yeah.
I was thinking, it's very hard. Like, so if I do a month subscription, every month it's a struggle, like to bring them back and back. And I think it would be way easier to offer them, let's say 3 months. If they pay for 3 months at once, I could give them some bonuses. I could give them those DIY courses
Yep.
for free. So would that make more sense?
Are you using a software that automatically charges every month?
Yes.
Okay. And
Well,
are people just emailing to drop?
no, actually, no, my software, I don't know how it's set up right now. It's just like one payment.
Okay, that's why. So, this would happen to me back in the studio days, like early studio days. I would say, "Oh, classes are $30 a month. Just come and sign up at the beginning of the month." And then some people just wouldn't come back, right? Well,
Hmm.
now we have every single person's credit card or checking account and we charge them and they have to tell us ahead of time, "Please don't charge me, we're not coming back." The turnover rate is insanely less. So the first step is get some sort of credit card processing software that can automatically charge. Okay. I don't know. Well, you're in the United States, so you could probably use Stripe, I would assume.
I do, but I actually use the platform I found that's Russian. That's amazing because it has everything. I do my funnels there. I
Okay.
host all my like courses, and I also can do all the emails, and they can
Does it
send money
integrate with
with
Stripe?
everything. What it?
Does it integrate with Stripe?
No, I don't think so. It does integrate with PayPal and I can process like card to card payment through it.
Okay.
I just need to
You
find out. Okay.
absolutely want to find out if they
Mhm.
will allow you to have it automatically add on a subscription. If
Yep.
you came back and said that's the one thing they can't do, I would flat out tell you leave immediately because that is going to cost you so much money that software would be hurting you more than helping you. I have a feeling they can do it. Maybe you just haven't
Yep.
seen it quite yet. Okay.
Yep.
So that's step number 1 is get because now we have to work on just great product and retention. And every month, if you kick it off and you try to get 10 people in, next month, you don't need necessarily 10 right away because you have the 10 that are going to keep paying, right? So it'll be an easier way to keep going. So I would say what I'd love for you to do is kind of like homework is come up with a scalable version of this $97 offer. And every time you put a bullet point in of what you're going to give them, I would ask yourself, could I still do this if there was 100 people in it? If the answer is no, it's not scalable enough. Because what happens is if you kick it off with 10 people and you give them this amazing custom attention and you keep enrolling, a year from now, those people are going to hate this product.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, what else? You're giving them weekly lives answering
Yes.
questions. There's training content in here too.
So yes, I already have some. So with my test group, I was just recording and then I was cutting out, the portion where I would train them, and I have that uploaded. So yes, I can provide them access to all of that. I just need to put it in some logical steps.
Perfect. And you
And
could just release a monthly training every month, which is why they want to stay next month, and then
mhm,
pop in weekly for those lives, Facebook lives, and just do Q&A.
yep.
I mean,
And
that
I
alone would
also
be worth
actually,
$100.
so far I invited two experts, one in paid traffic, like in
Okay.
Facebook ads, and
Yep.
another one is a graphic designer who
Perfect.
work in Canva, and they had great sessions. They did it for free, so I think I can also invite once a month new expert.
Okay, I love it. So we've got a monthly masterclass taught by you. We've got weekly Q&As on Facebook Live. We've got a guest expert. Now, you could do monthly or you could do quarterly. You could always say it's quarterly. And then if you feel like, oh, I know this is working and they're saying yes to me, you could easily bump that up to monthly. So here's a big takeaway I want everybody to hear. It's easier to add. No one's going to complain if you make it better. You cannot take away. So if you go in at monthly and you realize, oh man, this is really hard to get an expert every single month, we're going to go to quarterly, people will flip out. If you say, hey, I know we promised you quarterly, but we're just loving it and we see you are too, we're going to make it monthly. They're like, wow, she's always over delivering.
Mhm. That's amazing.
Okay. How is this feeling?
Great. I
Okay.
have, yes, this is really amazing. Thank you so much. I'm already feeling like
Like,
100
I want you
times
to go
more
launch this
confident.
tomorrow and then tell me when those 10 people have joined and then let's watch it scale.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I got just one more
Yeah, go
question.
for
Do
it.
you think I should continue spending time and trying to make my real challenge better, or should I just put all my efforts into this new program?
I'm wondering if you can use the real challenge to sell this program. Is it
That
in alignment?
Well, see, like I tried and there wasn't, I don't know, there was some kind of disconnect. So I
Okay.
actually record the bonus lesson for this real challenge where I say, okay, guys, you learned this, this, and that, and you kind of manage this reel part. But Instagram is not just about reels, you also need to
Got it.
work on other stuff. And here I am with my program ready to help you.
So it's not fully in alignment. Okay.
Mhm.
I think whatever you liked about the real challenge, I would reverse engineer the new product and create something similar for top of funnel to sell this new thing.
Okay.
And that new thing is what I would continue to sell over and over and over again to get them in. And it could be a free thing. You could do everything for free at the top of the funnel and sell them into this $100 a month program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would I still pitch at Real Challenge this program?
If it wasn't converting, I would really look at, is it just, are we selling apples and then oranges here?
Hmm.
Could I restructure it so it is more in alignment?
Yeah.
That'd be the only thing I'd be thinking about.
Yes. The other thing that I was considering, so I already have most of materials for course on video making.
Okay.
So, and I think for Reels, that would be great, like
Yes.
next offer, because
Yeah.
that's totally in alignment. But
Mhm.
again, it's the matter of like time and,
Yeah.
where to put my energy and efforts in. So you think coaching program first?
I think that's gonna be the biggest bang for your buck. I would love for you to already send out, like, go start messaging people that you've already been working with, people in the real challenge from before. I would be emailing my list, posting on social. I would have this like no brainer offer to join before the end of the year that it's kicking off in January. Here's what you're going to get. You could pretty much record all of that in real time. So you could put a date on the calendar for the January masterclass, right? Get scheduled your weekly lives in that Facebook group and it could kick off January 3rd when that first Monday is.
Yep.
And you could even say for scarcity, you could say we're only bringing on 20 people for this first round. Now it's surpassing what you even thought you could do, doubling it.
Yep.
And you
Definitely.
don't have to have a number on it. You don't have to say only 20. You could say, and the first 20 are going to get, maybe the first 20 get a hot seat where you are
Mhm.
promised, like maybe you do a hot seat call next month to kick it off and you bring on 5 people for 10 minutes a piece and they're on Zoom and you stream it into the Facebook group and that's like a bonus.
Okay.
Ask me anything type of thing.
Yep. All right. Sounds good.
How does that feel?
Yes.
Good. Anything else you want to ask me?
No, I think this is pretty good.
Okay.
I got a good plan. I'll be able to rewatch it, right, and take
Yeah.
again the notes.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Where can people find you online? Find this Reels challenge? Anything you want to share?
Well, it's all in Russian,
Oh,
so
that's right. Okay. Speak
if
your
you guys
Russian.
speak Russian, then you are welcome. My Instagram account it's LASC for Lana Skorda _newbies.
Love it. Lana, thank you for being here. I am so
You.
excited for you. I hope that, like, I can tell you're just lit up with this. I can't wait to hear what happens. So, good luck with this new promotion. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing publicly. I know so many other people got value from this today.
Thank you so much.
You're
And
so
food
welcome.
traffic formula has been just like an incredible experience for me. Completely changed my life.
Lana, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. All right. I hope you enjoyed our beginning session on creating systems. I hope you enjoyed watching Lana get that coaching. That is one of the benefits of being in a group coaching program is sometimes you don't know what to ask. You don't know what to bring up. But then Lana brings a great question or 2 or 3, right? And all of a sudden you're going, I needed to hear that. Like I didn't even know. So if you want more information on foot traffic formula, you can go to foottrafficprogram.com. All the details will be there. All right. Thanks so much for watching. And if you're live, we will be kicking off. We're going to be doing something really cool on Instagram next week. Plan to profit. Come join me over at Stacy Tuschl. All right. See you soon.